Hello, guys. Welcome in to the NW Sportscast. Seahawks lose 30-13. Drew Alba alongside Levi Coover. Levi, this was a game that a lot of Seahawks fans, including myself, want to forget very quickly.
Yeah, absolutely, Drew. You want to forget it, and you have to hope that you can forget it, because if Geno Smith isn't healthy next week, then this game is going to be remembered as the day Geno Smith got
Yeah.
hurt and the day that potentially derailed the Seahawks' playoff chances. If Geno comes back, gets healthy, and is able to perform the next 3 weeks down the stretch, then this game could be one that you forget. It's just you chalk it up to a bad game. The Packers, they're a good team, and you leave it at that.
Yeah, this game, Levi, I've been pretty strongly on the side of Geno Smith is an average quarterback that can be replaced quite easily, who is someone that I've been on the side of let's move off from Geno Smith. I don't think this team can win a Super Bowl with Geno Smith. Now, how much of my opinions have changed from that after tonight? Not a whole lot, but what I will say is that Geno Smith is way more important to this team than I thought he was. Because when Sam Howell came in the game, he looked horrendous. I mean, he looked really bad. 5 for 14, 24 yards. It seemed like every other play he was getting sacked. It was ridiculous. And, it gives you context to how good Geno Smith actually is when in the very same game against the very same opponent, Sam Howell comes in and struggles.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I don't know if it gives you context to how good Geno Smith is. It does give you context to how bad Sam Howell
See,
is.
I disagree. I disagree with you because I think Sam Howell proved that he is not a terrible quarterback last year with the.
No, Sam Howell is not a good quarterback. He led
I'm
the
not
league in
saying I'm not saying
interceptions.
good. I'm not saying good, but I
He's
thought I thought the gap between Geno Smith and Sam Howell was a lot smaller than I saw tonight, and I think it was because Geno Smith is that good, not because of Sam Howell being bad.
Drew. I hate to disagree, but I disagree. I think that Geno Smith. I mean, you saw the Seahawks had a chance in the red zone early in the game, and what happened?
That was
Geno
bad.
Smith
That was bad.
throws a bad
Yes.
interception, and Sam Howell also threw a bad interception. But you look at the. I mean, yes, Sam Howell was significantly worse,
Well,
and at the
Sam
same
Howell was missing
time,
guys by 5 yards wide open. I
yeah,
mean, he looked uncomfortable. He
he looks
held onto the
uncomfortable. He
ball
didn't
too
look ready.
long, and then sometimes he held onto the ball not long enough. I don't know what was happening.
He just didn't look ready to be in a game situation. And I don't know if that's a practice problem or what, but he
But
didn't
it
look
didn't
like
look
he is
better
ready at
as it
all.
progressed, Levi.
Yeah. And who knows? Maybe he'll if he starts against Minnesota next week, it might look better. But I mean, Sam Howell last year, he threw for a lot of yards and people kind of fell for it. But Sam Howell was a garbage time merchant last year.
Yeah.
In the first half, he was the worst quarterback in the NFL by a long shot. He put up a lot of kind of garbage time touchdowns and garbage time passing yards to
I don't
really boost his numbers last year, but he's not good.
He's not good, but my point to this whole soliloquy, Levi, is that I do think Geno Smith's stock actually rose tonight, despite the one
Well, for the
interception.
Seahawks, it did because now he's clearly again, the guy. I mean, if he wasn't before, Sam Howell's not has no argument, and I never
Yes,
thought Sam Howell had an argument, but there were people who did think he had an argument. There,
that's
that
what I'm
argument's
saying.
done.
And Sam Howell
Yeah,
slash Geno Smith shut those people up very quickly tonight.
yeah. There's
Yeah,
no longer. I mean, if anyone on online wants to try to make the argument that Sam Howell should be starting, today proved that is not true.
yeah. I mean, this brings me to my next point, Levi. So, with Geno Smith or with Sam Howell, both quarterbacks, who knows if the Seahawks team is going to make the playoffs. However,
Mm.
with Sam Howell, do you think there is even a remote chance this team's make the playoff? Because with Geno Smith, I still think it's hovering around 50%. Obviously, right now the Seahawks are out of the playoff picture because of the tiebreaker to the Rams, and I believe it's the Commanders actually, ironically talking about Sam Howell, that hold that last wild card spot.
Yeah.
But Levi, let's say for some weird reason Geno Smith can't play the rest of the year. Does this team still have life?
No. No, because the Rams and the Vikings are going to beat Sam Howell. That's pretty clear. And the Bears, maybe Sam Howell can beat the Bears, but probably not. So if Sam Howell's the quarterback the rest of the season, you're
You're
not
done.
making the playoffs. which sucks for the rest of the team because they have done what it takes. They put themselves in a position where they do have a chance, and it's going to be hard though going forward.
Yeah, and even with Geno Smith, Levi, it's not an inevitable this team makes the playoff whatsoever.
You got to hope. Most likely, look, you could beat the Vikings and the Bears. Probably you won't though, and let's assume you don't. So at that point, you need the Cardinals to beat the Rams, and then you need to beat the Rams as well. I think we can beat the Rams. I actually like our chances. Obviously, we lost to them the first time, but that was a really close game, overtime. So I do think that we can beat the Rams. I'm a lot worried about Minnesota next week. I think that is a game that will definitely is going to be a challenge. And
They both are.
if we lose to Minnesota, that means we also need Los Angeles to lose against the Cardinals, which could happen.
Yeah.
Could very well happen. The Cardinals had a nice win today. They're 7-7. Why can't they beat the Rams? So they beat them 31-3 the first time they played. So
Yes. Yeah. And we have the tiebreaker over the Cardinals. So that would obviously be ideal because I do think we would lose against the Rams right now with or without Geno Smith.
yeah,
So,
if it's a three-way tie with Arizona, we would be the winner of the division. If it is a two-way tie, we'd beat out Arizona, but we would not beat out the Rams in a tie.
okay. So
Even with a head-to-head win, we can't beat
we get the
them
lead in
in
the
a
three-way.
tiebreaker.
Okay,
We
interesting.
get the lead in the three-way, but
Gotcha.
not even if we beat the Rams in week 18, we need to be a game ahead of them.
Okay, understood. Um, all right, this is my next point because just sticking on this offense because I think that was kind of the story of this game. Obviously, the defense played pretty bad in the first half, and the second half looked a lot better. This Seahawks offense. So there was a combined 33 pass attempts, just 8 rushes for Zach Charbonnet. George Holani got a few carries, but that was in garbage time. Kenny McIntosh got 3 as well, not in garbage time, but still. So let's say 11 carries that were actually meaningful to this game. Only 8 carries to Charbonnet, who once again shows he's a good running back today. Averaged 6.8 yards a carry, had that burst, that only Seahawk touchdown where he ran to the right sideline. I believe somewhere, yes, it was in the fourth quarter. So, Levi, why I understand the Seahawks were behind, but why did Mike McDonald abandon the running game when clearly the passing attack with Geno Smith or with Sam Howell was not working against this Packers team?
Well, I wouldn't blame it on McDonald. I don't think he really operates the offense at all. I think it's Ryan Grubb who's kind of
Yeah, but at
game
some
planning.
point at the as the head coach, you gotta take responsibility to change
Sure,
things up, no?
sure, but
Here's always
I think the playbook is just not suited to an offensive approach that runs the ball
but
that
eight
often.
carries for Zach Charbonnet. Eight?
Yeah, I mean, part of it is also that we were down and we're trying to play catch up. But I think it is exposing that Ryan Grubb probably needs to beef up that playbook because he is great at dialing up pass plays, particularly pass plays when we are needing to get a first down. He's great at these kind of 15-yard sideline type plays. He
Just
has
to
a clear
Jackson Smith and
weakness,
Jigba.
right? Well,
Can't
or
get it.
DK, but he has a
Yeah.
clear there's a clear weakness in the playbook, which is that they don't have any creativity in the run game, and they have a very quick willingness to just completely abandon it. So I'm not one of these people who's going to say fire Ryan Grubb. I think that
Well,
he's
definitely. I mean, have we
young
seen this Seahawks
and
team
he's
against the
improving.
Cardinals?
But yeah, I mean, we look great against the Cardinals. But yes, there's going to need to be some conversations. I think the offseason, and do we need to maybe hire a run game coordinator who can kind of do that? Because Mike McDonald obviously great with the defense. Ryan Grubb great with the passing attack. There isn't really a run game expert though on this team right now, and that might be kind of hurting them. They don't have Pete Carroll for a defensive guy. He loved the run game, and I think he was really willing to lean into that and kind of he hired offensive coordinators who wanted to do that. He worked within that philosophy. Mike
Yeah.
McDonald doesn't have that same philosophy that Pete Carroll had about running the football, and so it's been, hey Grubb, use your playbook, do what you want. And Grubb's playbook, as we saw at UW, is basically just an air raid. It's very similar to sort of an air raid style of an offense. Just throw the ball. And when Sam Howell's in there, that doesn't
Yeah.
work.
Yes. I was just about to mention that. If Sam Howell is the guy for the next few weeks, you got to think Grubb is going to change things up. I mean, that's
You
the
have
only
to.
option, right?
Yeah.
It's the only option. And I think Grubb is not stupid. I'm not calling for Grubb's job whatsoever. I think he's done a
No.
pretty good job, actually, with the Seahawks team this year. I've liked the play designs. The biggest thing I've liked is how much Jackson Smith and Jigba has gotten involved this year. He has turned into one of the best wide receivers, not only on the team, but in the entire NFL. So, no, I don't think Ryan Grubb's had a bad season. He had a bad game, definitely kind of makes me question what the plan was going into tonight. I understand you had to change things after the Packers got up really early. I understand once Geno Smith was out, the first time Grubb has had to work with Howell in a live game setting. I get all that, but still it is slightly concerning. And I'm going to put some blame on Mike McDonald as well. I know you say is just on Ryan Grubb, and sure, but I do think as the responsibility of the head coach to kind of realize something's not working. I mean, these guys were 20 for 34 with two interceptions and under 200 yards. That was the stat line combined for Geno Smith and Sam Howell. Quick math on the fly. I'm not a math major, but I can do that stuff, Levi. Either way, though, these two guys clearly did not get it done and was unable to switch to the rushing attack. Definitely a storyline in this one, and something that I think, potentially could have lost the Seahawks the game, even though I do think the Packers are just a better team overall.
Yeah, they're a better team overall. And so that's why I'm not freaking out over the loss. I'm still I still feel like the Seahawks are in a good place.
Yeah. Defensively, do you think the Seahawks are in a good place? Because this is a team that looked really good the last couple of weeks. And then, I mean, Jordan Love, who by all accounts, is a borderline top 10 quarterback, but he's not Patrick Mahomes. You know, he's not special as a playoff quarterback at all. He goes 20 for 27, 229, and two touchdowns, zero interceptions. He looked really good tonight. And I think a lot of that is because of Seattle's defense, from what I saw.
Yeah, I think a big kind of storyline of this game was the Packers receivers against the Seattle defensive backs. Jordan Love, yeah, he was fine. He didn't. I don't think he looked great, but his receivers are out there making some great catches. I mean, there was a that touchdown to Romeo Dobbs was just there. There
Remarkable.
was there was there was nothing that Witherspoon was supposed to do.
Yeah,
He
that
he
ball was
played that
hanging 2 inches
he
from the
played that
turf the
ball
whole time.
perfectly.
Yeah.
Yeah, Witherspoon played that perfectly, and Romeo Dobbs made an amazing catch. There was a couple PI calls, one against Woolen in particular that I didn't really agree with, but whatever. Um, and Jordan Love was just kind of taking advantage. He hit the guys he needed to hit, but I didn't think he looked great. I did think the Packers' offensive line played a fantastic game, though, and we were really struggling to get pressure. At one point, Collinsworth even said something like, feel like I haven't called out any of these guys' names on the Seahawks D line, and it's because they weren't making the plays they had to make. Josh Jacobs was getting like 4, 5, 6 yards of carry at one point,
Yeah.
and they set the tone really well. They set the tone. They said we are going to be a power running team in the stadium of a team that used to always do that to us, and they did that, and it was like a flip flop of what it used to be when the Seahawks would play the Packers 10 years ago. It was Marshawn running the ball, and it was Rodgers who was throwing it up and down the field like a gunslinger. And this time it was the opposite. You got the Packers running the ball down our throats, and then Geno kind of taking on that Aaron Rodgers role, just sling field, hoping something will land. That's kind of what it felt like to me. It felt like a role reversal.
Yeah, it did. Josh Jacobs, 26 carries for 94 yards and a touchdown. The Packers, we were talking about how Seattle was unable to rush the football. They had more running plays than Jordan Love, 27 attempts for them. For Jordan Love, that is over 30 for the rushing attack. So they were really balanced on offense, and it made the Seattle defense really unbalanced. Kind of never knew what way they were going to go. Credit Matt LaFleur. He
Yeah.
looked, very comfortable all night long. It shut up the Seattle crowd very early on into this game. I mean, late in the fourth quarter, you could hear "Go Pack, go, go Pack, go," and that's maybe a testament to this Seattle 12th man not being as potent as it once was. But I think it's also a testament to Seattle fans were quite simply distraught. They were not able to see life in this game ever. I mean, the Packers from the get-go stomped on Seattle's throat and never let the foot off the metal or the pedal to the metal. They just kept going. And that's a credit to the Packers. I mean, they took Seattle crowd out of this game and they gave the Seahawks no reason to believe they would win this game. And even in the fourth quarter, when it got, maybe a little dicey for the Packers, they very quickly quieted the crowd once again. So, I mean, yeah, once again, credit to Matt LaFleur, credit to the offensive line. You mentioned 0 sacks for the Seahawks tonight. Zero. I don't know when the last time that happened.
Yeah.
This is a defensive line that has looked really good in the last few weeks. Some people say they turned a corner. Tonight, it looks like they regressed.
Yeah, to their credit, they looked better in the second half until Sam Howell threw that pick that just kind of set the Packers up for that last touchdown.
Yeah.
But
No,
yeah,
they did.
certainly the Packers outplayed us. Yeah, I don't know how much more I have to say
Shout
about
out
this
to
game,
special
Drew.
teams unit, by the way. Michael
Yeah,
Dixon, 6 punts for almost 300 total yards, just
yeah.
under a 50 average. Jason Myers, 2 for 2, with a 48-yarder as well. You got a player of the game, Levi, in this kind of miserable 30-13 loss.
Uh, Drew, I don't know. I guess I'll say Zach Charbonnet because I really like that run.
Yeah,
He
8
he
carries,
broke through
54.
and had a nice I'm gonna keep pounding this. Even when K9 is healthy, Charbonnet deserves the ball.
Yeah, I think they should have a split backfield. I think K9's
Split
still
backfield.
really good.
Oh, he
So,
is. I think he's a little bit better than Sharps, but I think Sharps is he has proven that he can be a solid number two.
yeah, I would
And
agree.
I don't know about doing it the way the Lions do it, where it's like, Monty and Jameer Gibbs are just every single play getting the ball. But I do think you can kind of run more of a split backfield and get the ball to both of those guys because Charbonnet is a lot of talent. And I feel like a lot of the times they just totally forget that he is on the team when K9 is healthy.
Yeah, once again, this is not an indictment on K9. I think Charbonnet is just really good.
Yeah.
I'm
Oh,
not
yeah.
calling for Kenneth Walker to not have the starting role, but I
You
agree
can
with
have
you.
two good running backs.
Yes, and they do, and they do.
Yeah.
At some point, you're not gonna have two. You're gonna have to pay one of them and get rid of one of them. But right now, when they're both on rookie contracts, you can definitely make
Right.
it work. My player of the game, Jackson Smith in Jigba, 10 receptions for 83 yards. It looks like Levi's phone might have died. But that was about it for us anyway. So it's about to wrap this thing up. Seahawks, wow, really frazzled after my buddy Levi there left the call. Anyways, Packers beat the Seahawks 30-13. Levi's player of the game, Zach Charbonnet. My player of the game, Jackson Smith in Jigba. Thank you guys so much for watching the NW Sportscast once again. Drew Albaugh was alongside Levi Coover, now no longer. And that'll about do it for us here in the Sportscast. Leave a like, comment, and subscribe on the video if you enjoyed. Makes us making more content. Sorry, we haven't been doing a lot of content as of late. Busyness, life gets in the way, but we're gonna have more coming out for you very, very shortly. Thanks, guys, for watching. Like, subscribe. I'll see you later. Bye bye.